Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead. Well, this morning our chores are going to be just a little bit different than they have been in the past. We are trying out two new things. Last night, for the first time, we put the chickens in their new part of the hen house. If you saw the last video that we did, we talked about downsizing the number of chickens that we have so that we can get ready for turkeys on the homestead. Well, this past weekend we took all of the hens that we no longer wanted along to the farmer's market, and we actually sold every single one of them that we wanted to get rid of.
Within about 30 minutes.
Right, so that was great news. We got rid of the ones we needed to get rid of, and now we're down to just the hens that we're going to be keeping. So they've been in the new part of the hen house overnight, and today will be the very first day that they get to free range instead of being in their big pen behind the barn. So we're excited about that. We're gonna let them out here and see how they did overnight and see if they like their new freedom. Morning, girls and boys. I don't think they quite know what to do not being in their pen. But it looks like they found their food. Now we were only going to keep one rooster, but we have this little bantam rooster that somebody gave us a while back, and he's so much fun. Even though we really don't want bantam chickens, we decided to keep him anyway because he just has a great personality. So we just call him Little Guy, and he goes wherever he wants to go. Even when all the other chickens were locked in the pen, Little Guy always found a way out, but he'd always come back. So he's used to free ranging. It's all the other ones that are going to have a new experience today.
The other thing that's different this morning has to do with the ducks. We've had 3 older ducks on our homestead for probably 2 years now, and then a few months ago we got 6 ducklings. Just a couple days ago we let those ducklings free range around the property, and they've gotten more and more brave as to where they're going. But last night was the very first night that we combined them and herded them together in the duck house. So they've been together overnight, the 9 of them, and so today we're gonna let them out for the first time all together and see how it went. Now this is all new to those last 6 that just came out. They haven't even really been on this part of our property. They've just stayed really close to the house and where their pen was for a long time. So this is a really exciting day for them.
So of course, they came right back to where I've been feeding them for the last few weeks, which, you know, makes sense. So I decided I'm just gonna bring their food over here and we'll just start feeding them over here. It's right next to where the chickens are anyway, so they can all just, you know, eat out of one place. So I brought their food bowl over. So the real reason though that we had to combine the groups of ducks together last night is because the baby ducks up until now at night have still been going back into the barn that we use for brooding new babies. And well, today we're going to need that brooder for something different because we're taking a road trip after our morning chores to Cackle Hatchery to pick up our new turkeys. We have finally made a decision on what type of turkeys we're going to be raising. We're actually getting 2 different types. We're getting 4 of the broad-breasted white turkeys, which we want those because they'll provide food for us yet this year. But then we're also going to be raising some heritage breed turkeys that will be permanent residents here on the homestead. We actually decided to get blue slate turkeys. They are a heritage turkey. They're on the bigger side of the heritage turkeys, which is what we wanted. And they're also supposed to be good brooders. They're also, they're supposed to be able to hatch out their own eggs. They can mate naturally. And so we're excited that, next year we won't have to buy turkeys. Hopefully they will just raise their own and we will have a supply of turkeys going continuously. So we're super excited. We raised turkeys when we lived in Arizona, but we haven't had room for them or haven't been set up for them since we moved here to Missouri. So this is a great time. We're excited to once again have turkeys as part of our farm.
Before we head off to the hatchery, I want to check on the baby bunnies. They're 3 days old now. I just want to make sure that they're doing okay. I'm going to take their nesting box out and check them. Now, last time I showed you guys the baby bunnies, a lot of you were very, very concerned about whether or not I should be touching the new babies. I think a lot of people have a differing opinion about whether or not it's okay. We've been breeding rabbits for meat for probably 7 years now, and I've never had trouble with a mother rejecting the babies after I've been in the nesting box. Now, if you're concerned about whether or not you can touch the baby bunnies, you can leave them alone for a few days, but I really do believe that it's important to be checking on them to make sure they're okay. It's not healthy for the other baby bunnies if one of the bunnies dies and just lays in there. It's just not a healthy environment. If you're concerned about how the mother will react if you're in there touching the babies, you can always pet the mother first with both hands. That will put her scent on your hands, and then when you're in the nesting box, that's all she'll smell is her scent. So we're just going to make sure that the babies are okay in here. They're nice and fat. Now they're 3 days old, and their eyes will stay closed until about day 10. Oh, look at the gray one. Their bellies are so nice and full. She's taking great care of them. I'm holding them to make sure that they stay in there. One more in here. Another gray one. So we have 3 black baby bunnies and 2 gray baby bunnies. They're so sweet. We're going to put them back in their warm nest. Put them back in with their mama. We're going to cover them up with her fur. Every night she pulls a little more fur and make sure that they are safe and secure in their little nest. Come on, baby. They're so sweet. Okay, put you guys back. Here you go, Mama. Here are your babies. There they are.
Well, now that our morning chores are done, we're going to start cleaning out the brooder area. We need to clean up from where the ducks were staying in there, get it all set back up so that we can jump in the car and drive to the hatchery to pick up the new turkeys. We're so excited. Well, we made it here to Cackle Hatchery in Lebanon, Missouri. Hit a little bit of rain on the way, but not too bad. Actually a pretty nice day for a drive. Hopefully our turkeys are ready to pick up inside. Let's go in and see if they have them ready for us. Alright, let's take a look at them quick before we head for home. These are the blue slates. And I think they actually had extras because he said they gave us one free of each kind. So we actually ended up with extra turkeys. Let's look at the broad-breasted. All right, let's get them home. Well, we're back home with the turkeys. We're excited to get them out, show them where their food and water is. Now, we basically use the same brooding setup for all the animals that we raise on the homestead as far as birds go. We like to use wood shavings on the floor. They seem to do the best job for these, young birds. And then we always have one of these. This is a water heater pan. We have several of these, but these work really well. We put their water in the middle. The chicks have no problem getting in and out of this pan, but what it does is it helps keep their bedding dry. Now, we'll put the feed just outside of the pan, but this way, if they make a mess with their water, which they always do, it stays nice and dry on the bedding, which is really important. And then we just use standard heat lamps. This time of year, I only need one going. I have two hanging here. One is a white light for during the day, and then a red light for during the nighttime hours. All right, so I'm gonna start taking them out. I'm gonna start with the blue slates. Let's open them up and take a look. So we have 6 of these, which is great. We're planning on getting 5, but they gave us an extra one. So I'm going to show them first of all where their water is, so that they can get a drink now that they're home. Now, normally when we order chicks through the mail, we'll get them and they'll be like a day or so old, but these guys, they told us, are already a week old. So that's good. I feel like that means they're probably a little, stronger already. So all we'll do is just take them and dip their beak in the water. That shows them that that's where the water is. And I won't worry too much about showing them where their food is. They'll find that on their own. It's more important to make sure that they know where their water is. All right, now for the broad-breasted. We've got 5 of these guys, and they are giant compared to the blue slates. Hi, guys. Now, none of these are sexed. They're just straight run, so we don't know how many boys and girls we have of either kind. There's your water. Now we're starting these guys out on a 30% protein turkey starter. We'll use that for about the first 6 to 8 weeks, and then after that we'll drop their protein down to about 18%. So, but you do need to start turkeys on a very high protein feed. The one that we're using is actually a turkey starter. After that we'll just use kind of a flock raiser that's about an 18%. Well, the turkeys are in their brooder. They're starting to really settle in, so we thought we'd take a couple minutes to talk to you guys about the types of turkeys that we ended up getting and why. So there's some pretty big differences between the two types of turkeys that we got, or the two breeds of turkeys that we got. We did get the blue slates, which are a heritage breed turkey, and then we got the broad-breasted white turkeys, which is a hybrid turkey. It's basically what your standard like butterball turkey in the store would be.
Right. The broad-breasted are fast growing like the Cornish cross. In fact, they'll be ready for processing and for the freezer by the time they're 14 to 18 weeks old. Generally 16 weeks is when people process. But the blue slate, being a heritage breed, they won't be butcher size until about 9 months.
Right. So that's really the reason that we decided to buy both types. We wanted to have some turkey meat in the freezer by this winter, but we know the blue slates won't be ready. We also aren't going to be ever butchering the blue slates that we have unless we end up with too many males. We really bought these to keep as permanent residents here as breeders so that we can collect their eggs and either incubate them, or hopefully one of them will go broody and hatch out their own babies in the future. We want to be as sustainable as possible, and the one way to do that is to always make sure we have animals on the homestead that will reproduce on their own. Now the broad-breasted are nice, like Sarah said, because they grow super fast. They'll actually reach, the males will reach about 30 pounds in 16 to 20 weeks. And the females will reach about 22 to 25 pounds in that same amount of time. Now, in comparison, the blue slates, even at their biggest size, even after we keep them for a year or more, the males will be about 24 pounds and the females will be about 14 pounds. So they'll never get as big as those broad-breasted turkeys.
Right. But it is important for us, like Kevin said, for us to have sustainable animals on the farm, which is also why we have kept some chickens, even though we're really wanting to downsize our chickens because we have plenty of other types of eggs. We did keep a few that are considered dual purpose. So in the event that we need to grow them up for meat and we don't have access to the Cornish cross through a hatchery, we can raise those up and breed those for meat. So same with the blue slate turkeys, same with the ducks that we have, same with the goats that we have, and so on and so on.
Right.
It's food security for us.
Right. We always like to have that backup plan in case something happens where we need to be ready.
So one thing we want to do for you this summer is to continue to show you the growth difference between these hybrid turkeys and the heritage turkeys, the blue slate. We're not going to do a week-by-week comparison like we did last year with the chickens, but we do want to show you the big growth difference between the two. There are good reasons why people continue to choose the broad-breasted whites, and they're great turkeys, but there are also reasons why you would want the heritage. So we just want to be able to show you guys side by side the comparison.
Now, just because we have the blue slates doesn't mean that we'll never again purchase the broad-breasted turkeys again either, because if there's a year when maybe the blue slates don't lay enough eggs or we don't feel like we've gotten a good enough hatch out of them, it's always nice to have a backup plan of the broad-breasted, which we know we can get in the spring and by fall be ready to harvest. So you know, I wouldn't rule out that we'll get more of the broad-breasted in future years, depending on how the blue slates do for us. But we do plan on keeping the blue slates as permanent residents here. So let's sneak back in by the brooder and see how they're doing and make sure that everything's going well now that we've left for a while. I just want to make sure they're all eating and drinking and getting along. Well, it looks like they're all settling in fine and getting along, so that's good. You guys, I hope you're as excited about us getting these turkeys as we are. It's going to be so fun to watch them grow up, and these blue slates are going to be beautiful birds when they mature. We're excited to have them here on the homestead.
You guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Thanks for coming along to learn about our turkeys. We appreciate it. If you're enjoying our channel and you're not a subscriber yet, we would absolutely love for you to hit the subscribe button. Please share this with your friends and family. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.